Yeah, so you got to learn the theme song so that we can just play it live going forward. Can you do that? Have like a guitar here and just strum the last couple chords and just play it on demand?
We'll see.
Okay, in the meantime...
This is how to watch TV.
Live from Don't Have a Studio. My name is Joel Henderson. With me, as always, my lovely wife, Michelle. Right there. That's her.
Hello.
And we are here to discuss Severance Season 2, Episode 6. It's called Attila. Attila... Are you flipping them on? You don't have to have them on. You can take them off if you want.
So weird. I'll keep them on.
You want to keep them on? You don't have to.
Space.
Why?
All right.
Okay, you don't need the headphones at this point. We're just this is one of those podcasts that's just a discussion of the episode. I'm not breaking news to anybody. I'm not discovering hidden secrets in the show. If we talk through something that stumbles into that territory, woohoo. But this is not the episode breakdown. Here's all the scenes and all the things you should. We're just talking through it, and sometimes we discover stuff. If you like talking about the show, I feel like it's missing in my life without doing these podcasts. So that's the point here. That's the only reason we're doing this.
Hey, could you make that fuller?
Could I make it fuller? I could make it fuller. Yes, I can make it full screen even.
What? Can they see my dirty glasses?
Probably.
Wow.
They're yeah. We also started doing our own podcast, the Don't Have a Podcast, if you want to ever check that out. Trying to live stream once a week. Anyways, they're live streaming episodes of Severance once a week on Apple TV+. This isn't an ad, but, Thoughts? What did you think of this episode?
I really
did you
like
it?
this picture frame.
What did you think of the episode?
It was good. I guess you could say it was more than good. It was a good episode, of course.
Oh, you could say it was more than good. It was a good episode. Yeah, that is more than good, I guess.
Take over real quick.
I just finished my high C.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
I gotta collect my thoughts.
Christopher Walken did the previously on Severance line. I noticed they're switching up who's saying that at the beginning of each episode.
Oh.
Yeah, so Bert said it this week.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What you asked me about, it was a good episode. I felt like it was not boring in a way, but other episodes there was much more action. It was just more...
I have a tendency to think, oh man, this was a slow episode. But then when you start talking about it, it's not. It's just that not every episode is going to be rip-roaring new discoveries or, you know what I mean, crazy, whatever.
Right.
Ruth said, hi, the screen is cool. Thanks, Ruth. It's not scary. It is mysterious, though, and important. Let's see. Are we just going right into the episode here? You got anything else you want to talk about in advance?
No.
I didn't think so. I have him telling, Mark telling Asal about his interaction at Lumen. And she's kind of, he was talking about she's rattling off facts.
Yeah.
What did that remind you of?
Assault, you mean Gemma?
He's talking about Gemma. He's talking about at the end of the previous episode that she was rattling off facts. He's like, why is she doing that? What did they do to her?
This was in their wellness session or in the beginning of the show, in the very beginning.
When they're doing the wellness sessions, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I guess that, or even when they first become severed and they're on the table and they're asking them all those questions too.
Right, but they were more facts. She was going, your innie is good at roller skating, or, whatever, that kind of stuff. But he said that Asal said that she's essential. Gemma is in the process.
Yes.
Now, think about what Asal is doing in his basement. She's going through stuff that Mark has there that reminds him of Gemma.
Is Asal Ragabi?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, Ragabi, whatever. I just, for some reason, wrote down Asal that time. And I hope that the name's right, because I'm going to feel really bad if I'm just saying it like it's
I have Asperger.
That's not it. You don't have Asperger's, babe.
No, it auto-typed ASPUGA.
Okay. But I think that they're using Gemma to trigger Mark in the same way that Ragabi is finding things about Gemma to trigger Mark on the outside. Like on the inside, they're using her to try to, or maybe not, maybe to see if he recognizes her. I don't know.
I have a note that, is this real life when he's seen her? Or is he dreaming this? Or
I
is
had
that
the same
him
kind of question.
reintegrating?
It is him reintegrating, but I'm confused on the timeline of how that works.
Right. Is he there, or where is he?
Yes, and when is he? Because she did even say in this one, and we'll get to it soon, I'm sure, but she was like, there will be gaps in your time, like you'll have chunks missing until the reintegration is complete. Then it'll all blend back together, because it looks like he's at work and then he's at home. And it's like, well, how can he be in both places at once? He can't.
Right.
But it's memories that he's accessing there where he was at work.
So he's at home in his basement, and he's sitting in the chair while she's just getting a little thingy out of his head or whatever. And he's having these flashbacks.
Well, this was before the needle. This is just the, like, whatever she was doing to his head, the thing.
Right, so these are just the memories. So he's physically not there.
At Lumen.
Yes.
Well, that's what's interesting. I don't understand how he has something that wasn't a memory, where he went and met with Miss Casey or Gemma as Outie Mark. That's not a memory. Yeah, but it's like they're crossing over, they're blending together in some way. That's the only thing that makes any sense there.
Okay. Check you.
Why are they always sitting inside the dark, or sitting in the dark? Like, it's always dark. Like just a single lamp. Yeah. It's always just like a single lamp that is the source of light in a scene. Oh, did I jump ahead of you? Sorry.
I don't know. But I know I referenced that. I was like, does she just work in the dark?
Yes, you were talking about that downstairs.
Before, though, or, yeah.
But even when they went upstairs and were sitting in the chair, there's one lamp lighting the room. And, you know, it's always pitch black, one light. Like, I guess that's contrasting Lumen, where everything's super bright.
Oh, yeah.
Which is ironic, because that's the area that's more secretive, the one in the brightness, where normally that'd be in the dark.
Right, so are we at the part where, well, Mark was just talking about bargaining. He's like, you know,
that's literally my next note. Yep.
Bargaining.
You knew what he was talking about, right? He's like, that's one of the stages.
Yeah, you think about everything that you can do to...
Well, it's stages of grief.
Oh, yes.
The 5 stages of grief. Yeah, bargaining is one of them. Yep.
So he just touched on that.
But that, I think that was important, because he says most...
Drink less. He'd listen more. He was like listening to things that he would do.
Oh, yeah. In real life, like, if you lost somebody, you'd be like, I'd give up all this stuff about me to get them back.
Well, I guess I took that as he was saying those are things he would do to get Gemma back.
Yes, that was him bargaining in before he knew that she existed for real. That's like him saying that. But now, what will he actually bargain? What if he does meet with Helena's dad, and then he offers the wife back, but he has to give up something? You know what I mean? Like, he'll have to bargain to get her back. So, but I think he's just showing that in the real world, when people lose somebody, they're willing to bargain, knowing that they can't actually get the person back.
Oh, of course.
So now it's like, I think it was just planting the seeds for him. He's going to agree to something somewhere down the line. Anything else on that scene before we go back to Annie Dillon?
No.
Annie Dillon telling them about the map. What do you have on that? Anything?
Yes, the note and directions. They want to go get the note from the break room. Mm-hmm. What was said what was referenced on that picture about Dillon?
Okay, what she said was, he said it's behind the poster in the break room, and she asked which one. He told her, blah, 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 and he's like, I don't want to go get it, because he doesn't want to he doesn't want to get in trouble and lose his Audi wife time. So, like, that's why he's being weird there.
Right. No, but why did he say...
But she goes, I'm going to go, I'm going to go grab it from behind the poster of you actually being brave. Because on the poster, he's being brave. Like, that was
a picture of Dillon on the poster. Okay.
Yeah.
So he was like, hey, F you.
Yeah.
You don't know everything. So it was funny.
He doesn't want to share about the wife, which I get. Like, do you think they'd judge him for, like, or maybe question his motives, maybe, and that's why he doesn't want to tell them?
He didn't want to share?
He didn't tell them about his wife, about his own wife that he's seeing. The Audi visitation?
Right, that's because Milchek said that's only for him to know. He can't share that with other people.
He could.
No.
Are you sure?
No.
Did he say? Did he say that? I'm trying to remember him saying you can't tell anybody.
It was like their little secret, I thought. And he
Interesting.
gets the security
I thought it was just when they were in there, he was beeping in saying, hey, keep that. Or no, Miss Huang was going, that's not Seth, is not appropriate information to be
Right.
sharing.
No, I think this
don't know.
is private. Because this was his own little perk. He doesn't want to lose that perk, so no one can
Right.
find out about it.
And did everyone sever their balls in the elevator this morning? That's what Helly said. Because Mark was like,
was like,
maybe
who
after
asked
lunch.
that?
Because she was like, well, we'll go. And he's like, we'll see. What happened? You got anything before he starts opening the refrigerator?
Nope, that's where I'm at.
Go for it. What do you got?
Mark opened the fridge and started experiencing reintegration at his house in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
The fridge went from, I call it the egg drop soup bottles, those little containers, whatever
Okay.
stuff he was drinking. It looks like watered down egg drop soup floating in there.
Oh, I know what you're talking. Yeah.
And
Okay.
so it flashes from that to the perfect paper to-go bags
Right.
in the Lumen kitchen.
Oh, you mean what was in his fridge versus like that blipping thing? Yeah, because they
Yeah.
also did it with the room too, which was cool.
Oh, right.
Like it was like furniture would change and it would be like in the same position at his home and in the break room there or
Right.
whatever.
I don't have any other notes on it, just that's where we were.
So so is reintegration the opposite thing, but same stimuli? Like he does things inside that he does outside and that's triggering it? So like inside they're using Gemma to try to trigger any mark in some way? I don't know. I can't quite tie that all together. Like why is he experiencing it the opposite way?
Right.
Like it felt like the reintegration was going to be mainly for the outie getting to experience the innie stuff, but the innie, what is he thinking? When, but he's not. It's just he's not there.
Right.
Sorry, just random thoughts. Then we go to the opening credits. Miss Huang comes into Milchick's office.
He tells her to have a seat, and he reminds her of how he had his review yesterday.
And there were a few issues of contention.
Yes.
And then what did he tell her?
Well, before letting know that there are valid concerns that he will be addressing. Oh, something about he has to deem her winter-tide material in order to graduate the fellowship.
Okay, so what I'm taking that to mean is that didn't it seem like Harmony Cobell was kind of indoctrinated into the Kier belief, like,
Yeah.
like long ago?
Yeah.
I feel like there's a school that
Fellowship
that they
something.
Well, but I think that there's a Kier-related school that they're funneling them into the program once they're of a certain age.
I think Bert's part of that school.
Like you were saying, we'll get to Bert. Like you were saying about Milchick, like maybe he's been there for a while. We don't know that he was there from Miss Huang's age.
Right.
But it could stand to reason that he's so refined himself by being there for so long,
Yeah.
you know, and choosing which personality he's going to take.
So
and he
she's
adopted
like
the big words
doing
and
an
stuff.
internship.
It's like an internship.
And now she
Yeah.
wants to get to graduate to her fellowship. So there's like, they're just climbing the ladder. They're
Yeah.
learning.
Right. And he probably, I feel like when he was eventually talking to her about she needs to, what was the word? What was the wording? You need to eradicate, how did he say it? You need to like eradicate, because it wasn't yourself, or eradicate your essence of childish folly or something like that. So again, playing into the one of the
yeah.
critiques from his review, where it was he uses too many big words.
Right. Oh, you're right. Okay.
So it needs to lose her childish folly, and he tells her she's running the floor today, and she kind of like gets a little smirk there, and then he's like, "Yeah, but you can sit at your regular desk."
Yeah, she's in a steward
Steward the floor.
the floor.
Yeah. I don't know what that
It was
means
like,
exactly.
it's like she
but
started to like stand up like, okay.
I think he was testing that childish folly that he was just talking about, because a kid would be stoked about that.
Right.
I get too
And
excited.
he like shut it down like,
Aw.
well, you're sitting at your own desk. And she's like, I
Yeah.
understand. So like they that's where I was saying it feels like Milchick's attitude is now remind me of Harmony Cobell when she was in that situation. Like, she was one in charge, and Milchick would go in there, you know, being told things to do and kind of being, oh wow, I get to take care of this.
Right.
But yet it's like, oh, but no, it's this. And they're kind of filled, like, Milchick feels defeated then.
Yes.
But then he's like, yes, I understand. It's like they're a robot. And they're trained to this.
It's middle management. They're all Michael Scott. They're all trying to just get the approval of the people above them, kind of thing, you know, and move up the ladder. Not that he was.
This is just like real life people in their careers.
Yes.
Who really hate their jobs.
I think that's genuinely what's so great about this show is that you can apply a lot of it to real life without the sci-fi element. I noted there seems to be no trust or respect between Milchick and Miss Huang. Like, there was a respect there between Cobell and Milchick, wasn't there?
Yeah, I mean, to a certain extent.
Maybe that was just familiarity, like they'd been working together for so long that they knew how one bounced off the other.
Yeah, maybe.
But it feels like there's nothing there. It feels like Miss Huang is aggressively pushing Milchick sometimes.
Cold, hard child.
Yeah. And anything else before we go to the bathroom?
No.
Okay, we're in the bathroom stall with Helly and Mark, talking about how they shared a vessel.
I'm not to that yet.
That's the first thing they talk about. What do they say in the stall?
They're in the bathroom stall talking about how they're trying to intimidate us. Milchick threatened him in the elevator.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and then Helly kind of thinks that this might be more plays by Audi Helena, I think, with the whole sex thing.
Yeah.
You know, with the sharing vessels.
Yeah, now vessels.
And she's like, during like a wellness session, because she had just found out that was his wife, that Miss Casey was his wife. So she's like, like in a wellness session or something. And no, not Miss Casey, Helena. So this is where she thinks it's another tactic by her Audi to drive a wedge between her and Mark. So, like, she's willing to take the emotion out of it for a second and be like, what are they trying to play at here? Like, what is their goal here? What are they trying to achieve? And I think they're messing with us more so than just, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Carry on. What you got? Got anything in that?
Oh, just how Mark went on to explain when they shared a vessel, how he really thought it was her and he was sorry and just he didn't know. And
yeah, it was interesting how she responded to it as well, because she was just kind of like, at first, and then took her little walk. And
she said because she wanted to experience it herself.
Well, no, before she was just saying like that. She just was kind of, we did that. I'm gonna go take a little walk. And then Mark goes back to work, and she like takes off her shoes in the hallway. I'm assuming that's just something she's never done as an innie.
Yeah. Okay. I put she's just mad because she didn't really get to have sex with him. LOL. And said, what
in
if,
a way.
Right. And I have, what if Helena gets pregnant with any Mark? How would that work?
I think that's a goal. Not to jump too far ahead, but later on she said he would be the first person she brought home to her dad. To me, that made it feel like she didn't have many relationships, if any.
Okay, that makes sense.
Why would if Severance is such a well-known thing, then why would somebody want to date somebody that's involved to that degree? And if she's the public figure of it, then everybody knows who she is. That's her only chance. What if she's doing all this just to like meet a spouse, like Severance, the whole thing?
Gosh.
She just couldn't find anybody.
Well. Then you talk about her shoes.
Yeah.
They really focus on her feet and taking her shoes off. She had unpolished toenails and her little nylon stockings.
What do you think the reason that she would have taken her shoes off would have been?
God, I have no clue. I didn't even think of that.
You as a woman, why would you kick your shoes off? They were slight heels. I'm just saying that's something at work she never gets to do. So that was like her going, you know what? Screw all this for a second. Let me just put my feet down flat, like get these shoes
Was
off.
she going to be walking somewhere? Or
She was walking in the hallway, but it was just like a sign of defiance, I think, for the corporate, you got to wear high heels kind of thing. She's like, I need a minute here. And she's just like, let me just be as, not that she gets to do that outside of there.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be more comfortable, wouldn't it? Like if you could walk around in a bright
yeah,
white
absolutely.
hallway that you see is perfectly clean.
Yeah.
Who cleans at Severance? Imagine that. Look at our walls in the
I'm
house.
sorry, I feel like I have to sneeze.
Okay, you want me to go to me for a second?
No, just because the lights and everything. And so everything is just, my head is so congested right now. I feel like a balloon. That's all. In case you see me looking up and like.
Oh, you're fine. So, another question besides the cleaning, which is an interesting thought, because we have a white house here. Every wall is white inside, and it almost immediately gets dinged up and scratched. So, are they just constantly repainting stuff, or is nobody carrying things through these hallways? Many questions about the logistics of having an
Yeah.
entirely white office building.
Very polished.
Yep. We go to. I had a question. Are they getting any work done this season?
I feel like.
Like
no.
any? They kept saying Mark's moving along in Cold
Right.
Harbor, but when? It feels like they're never at their desk, and like we see Mark go back to work, but he's just like one of the three at the desk.
Right. They're not going to meet quota this quarter.
Where do we go after that?
Milchek and his amazing paper clip
Challenge. Yeah, that's
glass.
Yeah. So I don't know if anybody noticed, but there were three of them, and the first two were empty, or like almost empty. Only a little bit left in the
Like
bottom.
these cylinders.
Yeah, and it was like, why is there that many paper clips?
It was
ever?
so satisfying though. I was like, I would love to practice my paper clipping.
Do you think he's gotten notes on his paper clipping before? And to where he's practiced before, and he's just not good at it or something?
Maybe.
Because when they showed the stack at the end, it looked pretty raggedy. They were all in different spots. I feel like Lumen would want them all lined up a quarter of an inch in from the edge, but they were all over the place in the stack. So maybe he's just not good at paper clipping.
Okay.
Let's see. So we go to another innie date. Explain. Why do
No, I
you,
just find it weird.
what do you not like? Explain it.
She just seems not smug. I don't know if I like her. I don't know if she's trying to hijack Pam Beasley or something or what. No, it's not that. She just.
What is it about it? I'm genuinely
It's the way
curious.
she talks. It just annoys me or something. She's just so.
She seems very deliberate, like,
Yeah.
and she's being careful almost, like she doesn't want to
Right.
say the wrong thing, or maybe she's avoiding. We don't know if
hesitant.
we don't know if Audi Dillon has rage issues.
I think I don't like her for this innie, Dylan.
Oh, you don't like her for any Dillon?
Maybe. I'm not sure, but every time I
Okay.
see it,
Yeah, she did. She audibly made that noise. I don't know why. So they discuss their first date, like Audi Dillon and hers first date, and he guessed scuba diving, and she said no, it was Thai food.
okay.
I just thought that was funny that he would guess they went scuba diving on the first date. And he's been into multiple things: scuba diving, woodworking. What else?
Garage beer making.
I mean, who wouldn't want to do
And
that?
Dylan said maybe I'm trying to find something that I excel in, like I do down here.
Yeah, because he's good down. Yeah, exactly. That's an interesting. I like it. She thinks maybe he's not happy outside with her.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, that seems fair because he doesn't seem happy with himself on the outside. Bless you.
So sorry.
Was not able to switch the camera or even hit mute for the sneeze, so deal with
I
that.
cover.
I hope you're listening with noise-canceling headphones.
Oh, good Lord. Is it okay if we try to hug again? Was that Dylan? Dylan said that to her, right? He said he likes the hugging.
Yes, but I think he's treating her nicely, unlike the Audi. Like, I think that's why they keep showing us little scenes with the Audi version of Dylan.
Oh, 100%.
Because he's
You can
not,
tell the difference.
he's not into her.
Right.
Audi Dillon is just with her for the sake of it. Like,
Right.
like it's not a passion thing anymore. It's
Right.
like,
And then any Dylan, this
roommates.
is the first time for him, so he's just like taking it all in.
yeah.
And so
It's
he's
like-
loving it. Whereas her, this is a brand new thing. She's like, oh my gosh, he's sensitive. And
I mean, hey, show me attention, and I'm gonna be sensitive and loving towards you. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how. That's the best thing is when somebody expresses interest in you. So he's got to be like freaking out.
Dylan, right?
Yes, no, that's what I'm saying. Dylan has to be like freaking out that somebody's like into
Right.
him because he's had zero opportunities anywhere in the entirety of his existence down there. He goes, we should be together all the time. And she's like, well, aren't we? And he's like, well, you and him are, but I'm not. So just a piece of him is being left out, and it almost feels like the piece of Audi Dillon that the wife is missing, is the innie version. Like all those characteristics, all those qualities that she wishes were in the Audi are the innie. So it's almost like he severed those two parts of himself as opposed to just having two hims. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You with me there?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we get he asked for a hug, like with Cobell, when it was like, you may requisition a handshake. So he's like, can we try that thing again? They hug and then eventually kiss. Thoughts?
This isn't it flashbacks.
Uh-huh.
Oh, flashbacks of Mark and Helly.
Oh, yeah. He's at his desk. He's sad. She's in the hallway. She's sad. Yeah, I just wrapped it up with that thing because, it was the next thing after. I'm like, let's just put in there they hug and kiss. And so do you think she's cheating on her husband with her husband?
Who cares?
Well, I don't know. If they're well, as we learn later on, they're separate humans with their own souls, according to religion, in terms of the innie versus the outie. So that's a different person. And later on, we see she straight up lies to him about it, about even seeing him anymore.
Fair.
I think she's cheating on him with that. If she was open, like, oh, I kissed your innie today, that's a different story than
I get it, yeah.
She's deceiving him. Like, she's intentionally withholding that information from Audi Dillon. Yeah, they're in the hallway sad, at the desk sad, and then everyone either kissing or thinking about kissing or sexting or whatever, or sexting.
Fast forward, they're doing it in their little makeshift tent area.
Well, she walks with a purpose, and they bump into each other in the hallway, and this is where they discuss, he's like, do you want me to, explain what happened? He, apologizes to her for how it all went down, I really thought it was you, etc. And he's like, do you want me to tell you about it? And she's like, that was her experience, I don't want her experience. And then a beat, and then, I want my own. And it's like, okay, well, this is happening. Yeah, so I thought they were going to do it in the elevator for some reason. I don't know why I thought that would be funny, but that wouldn't have played out well for either of them. So we go into the other expansion MDR rooms where they had the sheets over the tables that made it like tents. Mm-hmm. Your mic isn't anywhere near your mouth. I can't hear you.
I wasn't talking.
You just said something.
I wasn't talking. I said, mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Okay, go on.
Oh, I've got nothing on that. I said we get to them, they're doing it in their tent-like stuff, and yeah.
Right. Ta-da. Let's see, a tent under the desk. She said ta-da.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Let's see. Must be the first time she's gotten undressed ever.
I don't know.
Maybe same with Annie Mark. Why would he have ever had an opportunity to take his clothes off? Oh, no, he did with other Helena.
Far into it.
Again, these are new humans. It's just interesting to me sometimes, when they go outside, that's their first time outside. Right. This is her first time having an occasion to get undressed.
Okay.
I assumed someone was going to stop them for some reason. Where is Miss Huang? Why is she not stewarding the floor? It's just free for all at this point. Thoughts?
No.
So we go back to MDR sitting empty. And then Milchek's still paper clipping. What do you got in that area?
Oh, they both consented to yes.
Your mic's not near your mouth.
Sorry.
Okay.
Okay. They both consented to yes. That's all I had.
Oh, okay. But so then after that, we see MDR sitting empty, and then Milchek paper clipping again. What did you think about his little mirror situation?
What mirror situation?
Where he was going through his report, his status report, or I can't remember what it was called, the review, performance review, and the first thing in it was the using too many big words. So he had already just addressed the paper clipping, obviously. Mm-hmm. So then he goes to that little shelf where there's again, single light source, and he's looking into a mirror, which for some reason you didn't see the camera in. Make that make sense. How are we looking straight on at a mirror and not seeing the camera that's filming it?
I don't know.
I know. I don't understand.
They call it movie magic.
Uh-huh. But that felt very much like one of those things you would have had growing up at that school that I pitched there being, that he would have gone through like Miss Huang, like the grooming school where it's like they'd have the thing where they chastise themselves in the little mirror or something. You know what I mean? It felt very like not something a normal person would do.
Gotcha.
And by the end, it almost felt like he was giving advice that had been given to him. Like when that's why I noted like his eyes looking sad. It was almost like he was remembering going through that same process himself.
Okay.
And what he needed to hear at the time was grow. You know, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. I was like, there's some trauma there within Milchick. Let's see, a little practice mirror. Nothing on that stuff?
No.
Okay, whatever's next, hit it.
Mark and Helly slowly walking down the hall, and she asked, was it different with me or whatever, and they start kissing, and that's when Mark gets a nosebleed.
Right.
I said, uh-oh, the reintegration stuff. Like, you could tell, because that's what Petey had.
Oh, that's right. In like the gas station or whatever, it would just start nosebleeding, and then he like passed out or whatever. I liked how their hair was all disheveled. Like, obviously, they had just hooked up.
Okay.
Miss Huang asking if she punched him. She's like, not today.
But is Miss Huang a nurse also?
Right, a 12-year-old nurse. I mean, how does that work? She takes his blood pressure and he reintegrates to the basement.
But she was asking like a lot of questions, like any hallucinations and.
Oh, almost
I
things.
wonder if those were things like if they know to ask certain things. Because what if Mark would have said yes, that he had hallucinations? They're going to be like, is he reintegrating?
Exactly. Yeah, no, I think you're right there. I didn't think of that, but asking a question where it's like, well, this is what would happen if you were reintegrating.
I'm so stuffy.
So stuffy?
I just feel it. Like, it's like, look, I feel like I'm Mark on his little balloon just floating. Goodness.
I feel like this one's gone a little bit quicker. There's definitely a school, Myrtle Egan School for Girls. Okay, I knew there was something like that, but that doesn't account for Milchick. There's got to be a boys' school, too, you would think.
I don't know if I trust Rigabi.
Okay, what do you think?
She's starting to feel like fishy or suspicious.
In what sense? What made you feel that way?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay. I mean, I can see it. She does kind of seemingly not work for anybody, but knows a whole lot.
Like she wants to use Mark as her experiment.
Like guinea pig kind of situation?
Yeah, because like she almost had something, I feel like, and then like she was like really into it, but like for herself. Like she wanted to, I don't know what it was.
I know what you're
this
saying.
Vibe of whatever.
Like Mark isn't her priority here. Like it seems like she's trying to help him out, but maybe not so much.
Yeah.
Then my next question is, how does this work? How can he be at both places at once? Or is that what we were talking about with the time there's going to be gaps?
It'll be a flashback, or what is it? Is it a dream, or is it just his recollection?
Because it's always that same framing where it's like he's here, he's there, and he's doing the same thing essentially. And I'm not following because he can't be in both places at once. So it's like some weird memory thing where he's in sync. Like maybe it's just those two lines going together. I don't know. It doesn't really make sense. So she's asking him what he remembers there, and he's like, I remember a desk. And then he doesn't remember. It was gone. Then we go over to the dinner party. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. What do you got for dinner party?
They have dinner.
Well, no. I mean, Irving shows up. He's in the car with his wine.
Where?
And then Bert busts his balls. Like, who are you?
What?
When he answered the door, Bert pretended not to know him. That's Severance humor.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious. He's like, who are you?
He just like stood there. He's like, I'm just kidding.
Yep. Attila is the nickname that they have for each other.
Something with Hun.
Yeah, because Attila the Hun.
Oh.
They used to call each other Hun for years, and then that evolved into Attila. It's just like an inside joke where you're just like, I'm not going to say that anymore. Let's just go with the other thing. And then we get to, I can't remember the actor's name, but he was in...
Fields?
The guy that plays Fields, yeah. I can't remember the actor's name, but...
Irrelevant.
What's mine is yours, and you brought wine.
Okay.
The whole mind people threw blood/paint on fields. So
What?
he said the whole mind people are a little crazy. So is he talking about unsevered people? Bert said that in the conversation. He was talking about Fields getting blood thrown on him, but it was paint that was supposed to be blood.
Oh.
But he was calling them the whole mind people. And we haven't really heard anything about that in the show, but is that like a collective of people that are anti-severance, maybe?
I don't know.
I mean, it sounds in that ballpark.
Right.
John Noble, that's the actor's name. And then we find out at least the story being that Bert was led to severance from Jesus.
Right.
Simply because they were essentially looking for a loophole. If you watch Lost, that's
That was
really
the
what it
funny
was.
part
What's that?
where he said, Bert says he was guided to Lumen's doors by Jesus, and Irv said, Jesus Christ? And Bert was like, that's the one.
Yep. Jesse said the whole Mind Collective, they were the ones protesting in season 1. I'm trying to remember the protests. I'm going to have to go back and rewatch the whole first season. But so that is an established thing in here. Oh, that's Mark Scout. That Mark Scout went off on during his date with the midwife. Oh, that's right. When he was dating the girl in the first season, and then they were on the date, and like he just started freaking out on them outside. That's the whole Mind Collective. Okay, that makes sense. Sometimes I just need that little jogging of my whole mind. And then the service that they went to for the church was about severance. And he started going to the church because Fields asked him if he thought he was going to heaven. And he was talking about his past and how he was, a bit raucous growing up, et cetera, and how he definitely isn't going to heaven. So the severance in the service was saying that the innie is its own human with a soul and will be judged individually from the outie, which that's such an interesting concept. Isn't it? Like, because if you start thinking about the God judgment of it, and then it's like, well, but then in theory, God made the one soul, and now you've split it. And he's like, okay, I'll judge half of it, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's an interesting concept, because what is a whole human then? And how does half of him go to hell and half of him go to heaven, etc.? Nothing? No thoughts?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I put Lumen as corrupting the Lutheran church by telling them, like, I feel like maybe they're just telling them that, like, oh, if you're not in any, you're going to hell, or whatever. I don't know.
Right. I don't know what they would have been, why that would have come up, and especially so long ago, because if the idea of Bert working at Lumen and being severed was 20 years ago.
So tell them that they can be saved if they become an innie.
If they get severed, they can become saved, yes. Because then they can start believing in Kier and all that stuff. That's the innie version of God.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I thought that was a clever workaround. Like, that's somebody really, like, putting the thought into this whole thing. Like, well, what is a person if we're splitting them? Mm-hmm. Must it always be nighttime? Like, I get that there's less daylight for outies because they work during the day, so they've lost 8 hours of sunlight, but it really feels like every outie scene is at night. Let's see. Dylan asking about Lumen again.
That's where they're back at home now. Mm-hmm. That's where she lied about it. And so they canceled their meeting.
Yeah, but she's clearly going to keep going. So, yeah, I think that's definitely her intentionally lying to him. Did they say anything else at that part? He was really just asking about that.
Now we're at Mark eating at the Chinese restaurant. And he's an outie. And then Helena just happens to be at the same restaurant. And it's like, at first I'm thinking, oh, she just happens to be there. It's like, wait, no, she followed him to go find him.
Yeah, she walked in.
Specifically talked to him.
Waited until he was done with his food and then walked in and then just sat where she would see him and, peeking over the booth.
So, yeah, so he recognizes her. So so is he now able to remember stuff from his innie world? Because he doesn't know of Helena on the outside. Well, no, that's wrong, because everyone knows who Helena Egan is.
I think I was wondering the same thing. It's like, Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how if he knows her because of the Audi stuff or the innie stuff, because it feels like those memories are fleeting. Like he's like, oh, I remember a desk, it's gone. You know, whereas if it was like, oh, yeah, that's Helly, I work with her. He knew her as Helena Egan.
Right, but I feel like everyone in the Audi world
Would know.
would know who Helena Egan is.
Oh, duh, he chose to get severed.
Right, because they know, yeah.
He probably looked into who runs the company at that
Okay,
point. Yeah,
yes.
that makes sense. Because beyond almost hitting her with his car at Lumen in season 1, why did he not think anything of that? Like, why did he not go, oh, that's Helena Egan that I almost ran over in the parking lot? You remember when he almost hit her?
No.
It was it was one of the first episodes.
Okay, I don't remember.
Let's see.
She introduces herself, blah, blah, blah.
The look on his face when she smiled at him, she did that whole, like, what facial control to be like, huh? You know, like, did all that, like, whole routine and then landed on a smile before she walked over and introduced herself. But the look on his face was just, I can't be bothered. Like, what? I don't care. She's scouting him on the outside, which is funny because his name's Scout. As you said, she comes up and introduces herself. Mm-hmm. And he goes, oh, so what did he say? Oh, she said, I've heard a lot of good things about your work. And he goes, that's funny. I've heard nothing about it. Just Severance humor is
work.
great. Mm-hmm. Yep. What is that? Where then she apologizes for the systemic error at work, aka the OTC. Do you think it's just a matter of she's trying to spark a conversation and doesn't have anything else to talk with him about? Because the OTC didn't really amount to anything. Or is she still probing him for info? What happened on the outside, maybe? I don't know.
I don't know.
She tells him she's head of the company. She knows all about it, etc. Offers to introduce him to her father. And then was I wrong? Or were they sort of flirting a little bit there?
Like she was trying to, but he has.
Well, but he smiled. Like by the end, he sort of broke and was laughing with her, and he's like, "Oh, ready to take me home to your dad already, huh?"
Oh, okay.
And that's when she's like, "Oh, you'd be the first." You know, it seemed like she made him laugh.
You know all about it.
She calls Gemma Hannah. What do you think that was about? Obviously, she knows his wife's name.
Right. So who's Hannah?
Well, I think she was. It reminded me of Parks and Rec when Ron Swanson calls Karen Filippelli Janet or something like that. He's like, I like to. When people get a little chummy, I like to pretend I don't know their name.
Okay.
But yeah, I didn't quite understand what the benefit would be to that, other than to
Like to just say that, mess up the name on purpose.
Right, or to trigger him in some way,
Right.
maybe.
To see if he'll talk about it.
Right, or maybe if he'll go start reintegrating or something. Let's see. So then we see the FU on the sign as he leaves.
Right.
Which,
Zufu.
yeah, Zufu.
His
Is that what it
cough
was?
is getting worse too.
Yes, that's a good point. Did Petey continue to get sicker like that too when he died? Okay. So we go then to somebody going through Irving's stuff. Remember when we saw?
I have a note before that. I have Kier Regional Roadmap.
Okay.
What was that? We saw a roadmap.
That was in Irving's box.
Oh,
His
okay, so
trunk.
we are there. Okay.
Yeah.
So I first noticed that, and I was like, is that the roadmap to Lumen? Is there a Lumen state? Like, how big is...
Kier is a city or a town or something. Kier is in this, that's where they live, in a place called Kier.
Right. Oh, okay.
So it's just a map of their area.
Okay.
Kind of thing.
Never mind.
But it was Frolic was tattooed on the hand. Did we see that on, what is the guy that works for Helly or Helena? Mr. something with a D?
Drummond.
Drummond. Did we see that on his hand before? Because I'm pretty sure that was him going through the chest.
How do you know it's him?
It looked like him.
Oh, I didn't even see somebody.
The dude's eyes were peeking over the top of the thing.
Oh, I didn't even.
I was assuming it was Mr. Drummond. My other thought is, well, it ties into more Bert
To
stuff.
somebody,
Yeah,
like, okay, we have Irving here.
that's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm now thinking that maybe Bert was involved in creating Severance, because the way that Fields mentioned it was you and your Lumen partner 20 years ago. Lumen partner, not Lumen coworker. You know what I mean? So it's almost like Bert was
I
part
thought
of
he meant like his gay partner.
his partner at Lumen.
Oh.
Or no, he said your Lumen partner.
I thought he meant like another person he's talking to down there.
Maybe, but I was thinking because of the time frame. He said it was 20 years ago, and then Irving's like, well, didn't the first severed office open 12 years ago?
The time.
So he wouldn't have been working with anybody somewhere because there was no severed offices. So I'm thinking Bert is
Bert is a top tier employee.
Yes, I think he was the co-founder, maybe, or something like that. And so they invited Irving over because they know he's spying on the company or something. We don't know Irving's goal.
Is Dylan really 58 years old?
That's my next note too. Like, how is that possible? Like,
Or I thought, is this the guy that Irv calls on the telephone all the time in his apartment? But he wouldn't be rummaging through his apartment.
right. Again, I think it was somebody with, somebody says hi from Argentina. Hola. That's all I know how to say. Well, I know I can say some things, but yes, hello from Argentina. Hello from Indiana.
So I have Back to Dinner with the Gays. First severed office opened 12 years ago. Mm-hmm. Feels, I remember we were having drinks with your Lumen partner. Oh.
Yeah, your Lumen partner, not your
forward.
coworker.
Do you think you two had ever made love at work? There's a chance.
There's a non-zero chance. Because 0 means it's absolutely impossible. So there's a non-zero chance that you guys had unprotected sex at work.
I said, I hope it was beautiful. I thought, this is confusing.
Right. Bert might be who Irving is after, if you think about it. Like with his list.
Let me scroll down to my bottom notes.
Well, hold on. We're still in the thing. We're still at the dinner.
Right, I have notes that I took afterwards.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
That's irrelevant.
He was talking about the Annies deserving.
Oh, yeah, this
Love.
is like when they were going through the paperwork at Irving's house. Mm-hmm. I was asking who's going through his stuff. So then I asked, did Bert and Fields arrange for somebody to go there?
Yep.
He said it could be Mr. Drummond if Bert is that tied in there. Another thought on...
I'm also thinking that Fields is not severed.
No, sure. But I think I found, I was reading some threads. Another theory was that Bert is a top tier employee. And they're saying, look at how nice his place is compared to other people that work for Lumen. So this seems like Mark S., he's like in regular, like that's like Lumen property, right? Or something of that extent.
What is where he lives?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So it seems like if you work for Lumen or you're severed, you get housing in that way.
Right.
So then Bert, he worked there, obviously didn't go up and move that quickly.
Oh,
That's
I see
his
what you're
house.
saying. It's a regular house.
He has a nicer,
Yeah.
he has a nice place, so maybe he's higher up on the totem pole within Lumen.
I thought maybe it was about him having a spouse. Like maybe the spouse does something that at the time,
fair.
that was what I was thinking then. But I think that Fields is not severed, so he's not the guy with the cart. But during the scenes when they were at dinner, you would see half of each of their faces, Irving and Bert, in shadow, on the opposite side. And then you'd look at Fields and all lit, whole face lit.
Okay.
I think that was just like a visual way to go, not severed. These two are
Okay.
severed.
So there's another theory I saw where someone said about Irv, it was his Innie's personality at dinner, not the painter rock music outie. So his personality at dinner. So they're saying Irving's got to be reintegrated because he was acting like himself as an innie.
I think there is a crossover to some degree of personality. Like, what is that person?
I think he is fully integrated and chooses how he presents himself.
Could be. Because he seemed confused about Bert as well when they met by the phone booth. You know, when he walked up to his car, he seemed genuinely confused by that. Because it was his innie that had interacted with him on the outside. But who knows? A couple of comments from the...
Can you take it off real quick? No.
Oh, yeah. A couple of comments from the YouTube video. We got, haha, good Spanish. I think Helly was... Let's see. Helly was on her period in the 6th episode. Why would Helly be on her period? She just did it with Mark. Let's. Oh wow. Oh, you back? Nosebleed? No. Jesse said Bert invited Irving over to get him out of the house so Drummond could search the house. And then she said, but where is Radar? That's my question. Radar is his dog. Irving's dog. Like, why was he not reacting to somebody being in the house?
That is very true. So on the note, I noticed someone, but you could see at the top of it with all the names, it says duplicates removed.
Right. I'm assuming that's that list that he printed, the duplicates had already been removed. Like, it was like the title of the page, like names, and duplicates removed, like letting you know that this is another summarized version.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh, okay. She said, this is from the Argentina comment. She said, I meant ovulating. Like, she thinks that Helly was ovulating in episode 6, this episode, so that she's going to end up getting pregnant. She just did it twice with the same dude.
Oh.
That's, okay, I thought she was just being funny at first, and she's like, I think she was on her period, like she was being mean or rude or whatever. Okay, no, that's a fair point, yes. So... let's see, what do we got?
A few more. Now we're going back up to the...
We go back out
Mark
to...
S. running into basement saying sorry for being a dick and wants to continue. She can just see in the dark. It's so dark everywhere. Oh, that's today.
Yeah, that was Michelle's moment of realizing that. Like,
Michelle's.
why? What?
Ooh.
Yeah, even doctors only use one source of light. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You're not going to... Let's kick some stuff on. Are they hiding? Like, is this a hidden thing they're doing because they're worried that Lumen's watching Mark's house all the time? I don't know, maybe. I guess it's possible. Jesus Christ, I looked at the exact second that they ripped his scalp open.
Cuts open his head.
I was so bummed out by that.
A giant needle.
Ugh. The 2 lines went away when she pulled the needle out.
And is that when it started flashing?
They flooded it in there, like you saw it go black around it. And it was like, so I don't know exactly what that's doing. Is it short-circuiting the chip by flooding it literally, like it's in electronics, so we're just going to put liquid in it and it's not going to work anymore or whatever. He is having a very visceral reaction to this, and the only way I can describe the noise that was being made when he was, it reminded me of an ASMR video called Departure. If anybody's seen it, that's a deep cut reference from like 12 years ago on the internet.
Sounds like a CAT scan machine or something, or an MRI.
Oh, I guess I can see that. Yeah, maybe that is what that's from. So we get Devin knocking on the door.
Yep.
And
he tells her that he's trying like different things now to...
Just working it out on my own.
Yes.
And yeah.
He starts reintegrating in that moment. Or something happens where he like falls to the ground and then doctor...
He couldn't operate his hand. If you noticed, he was trying to pick up the water and he just kept like...
Oh, that's right.
He was losing motor function.
Looking at the cup on there.
No, I think he was losing motor function.
He was there. And it was like next to it.
Like he couldn't do it. He wanted to take a drink, but he couldn't figure out how to do it. So that's something with his brain. Motor function was being affected by what just happened downstairs, and or him being jerky with his head motions. So
because then when he wakes up, he like, oh, my eye hurts. She was like, you can't do that.
Yeah, he's like, you can't be moving your head around like that. And then, of course, he falls and smashes his head on the ground, which, how can that be good for this whole process? That can't be.
Mark collapses. Here comes the doctor, says, don't touch him.
Yeah.
Like, who are you?
Yeah, it just pops out of the basement. Random basement person. After that, we go back to Bert.
Bert knows something about the 10 years ago thing.
He's trying to cover it up. He realizes that Fields let it slip because there is a public version of the story versus the real version of Severance, is what I'm taking from that. That they had been working on it for a long time, even well before the public knew about Severance. So him talking about his Severance partner 20 years ago, he's like, he's confused. It didn't exist then. He didn't even, he was almost obvious with not covering it up well.
And then we got the threesome lingo again.
Like, let's do this again.
He's like, we should do this again sometime.
Right.
Like, with just me or Fields too?
Because I think Bert wanted to know. I think Bert was like, well, are you into this? Like, just me and you? Because, like, Fields doesn't need to be there. Like, he was seeing if he was interested in him. I think he was like, you on a date?
What?
And let's do this again with or without Fields, and then end episode. Did you come across any riveting stuff on the internet that you thought about this? I think the biggest takeaway for me is that Bert is somehow involved in the creation of Lumen.
Oh, jeez. Could
it have been that Severance was a separate thing, and then Lumen as a company came in and like made it out to the masses? Like maybe they came up with a procedure and then they needed investors to actually produce the thing.
Like they're a small...
Bert is in O&D, optics and design. Yeah. So they're creating stuff in there. Maybe he has that sort of a mind where he's helping with creating, I don't know.
I saw a Severance theory that said there was something unique about the way some of the characters talk. Mark, Devin, Petey, June, Helly, Dylan, and others talk like perfectly normal people, but a few like Milchek, Kobel, Selvig, Bert, maybe Irving, talk in almost archaic language. Sorry.
Like old school.
Archaic language that seems to match the whole Lumen vibe.
Yes, it is a very timeless vibe, and using those things do harken back to long ago when people would speak super proper or say things like, you need to eradicate from your essence childish folly.
Right.
Like, that's not how people talk.
Said, plus Miss Casey and Miss Wong talk in a robotic way. I said maybe these are clues about who they really are or when they come from.
Interesting. Okay.
Because someone also mentioned, like, I said the vehicles looks like they're back in the 70s, but yet they have iPhones.
Right. They wanted to make it look where it was visually confusing like that.
Drummond has an Android.
Okay. Does he?
Someone showed a Bell on there.
Okay.
And they said that Bell app is only on Android.
Well, then that means he could be a bad guy. I don't know if you know that. Do you know that rule?
What?
I'm not being funny here. No. This is a real thing. Apple made it where you cannot be a bad guy and use an iPhone in a movie or a TV show.
Wait, what?
I'm not kidding.
Wait, say it again.
Yeah, in popular culture, they will not let somebody, if like say, what's a movie with a bad guy? Like any movie. Just name something.
Batman.
Okay, fine. The Joker couldn't have an iPhone. He would have to have an Android. Batman could have an iPhone, and you could show that it's an iPhone, but you cannot see a villain using an iPhone in a movie.
What?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's... Okay. That's interesting.
Wait, somebody said... oh, come on. I'm going to have to try to figure out how to say your Argentinian name, and I'm going to butcher it. Cosme. Cosme?
I can't even
Cosme?
say it. Cosme.
Fulanito. Anyways, it said that logo is from Dharma? ? What logo? Mine? Like my logo for the channel? Or... Oh, behind me. Yeah, that's my my Don't Eva logo. Yes, it's some Dharma mixed with Houston Oilers. I hope they respond all Lumen activities, not like certain old series that include that logo you have behind you. It's not... I don't want a show that feeds me every answer. Like, I'm cool with some of it being ambiguous. Like, I want to know the big things, the character things, but I have zero problem with Lost. It's my favorite show of all time. If you're just jumping in here, don't ever. which is why I integrated it into the thing. And my son's name is Sawyer, for example, just other things that prove how much I love Lost. But thank you for watching, and I would love to have you back for our next episode next week. Now we have 2 people in the chat. Anybody else there watching that wants to say anything before we...
Let me comment.
You got anything you have any more Reddit on Reddit stuff?
Reddit on Reddit?
Yeah, like I read it on Reddit.
Oh, I was looking at threads. I went and downloaded...
Jesse goes, no Lost slander here. I agree, definitely. Lost is the greatest show of all time. But Severance is really peaking up there. We shall see. I think Severance is a spiritual successor to Lost. If we ever got to explore the Dharma Initiative as a whole, I feel like it might be like Lumen.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
Come on, give me a Dharma series, man. Ugh. But nothing tying to the original show. Like no actors crossing over. Just literally like show us Dharma, how that runs, but they could reference the island and all.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'd be so in.
That's funny.
Jesse goes, we'll see when Severance is over. That's exactly what I told Jeremy back in the day when he's like, Game of Thrones is the best show ever. And I'm like, it hasn't ended yet. Has to stick the landing, and it did not. So
I haven't watched it yet.
Yes, she hasn't.
I'm still moving past the dire wolf getting...
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, because, Game of Thrones, and then now nobody talks about it. But people still mention Lost. The people that mention Lost in a negative way usually didn't watch every episode of the series. They're like, I started the first 2 seasons, it was great, I fell off, then I came back for the finale, and it didn't make sense. Well, yeah, no shit. You missed 80 hours of TV that would have filled in all those.
Go back and rewatch it, because I think I didn't pay attention.
Oh, do you want to podcast Lost in some way?
I do.
Does anybody have any interest in us podcasting Lost again? Like,
I've never done it.
but I don't know what else new I would have to say about Lost at this point, but it would be interesting. She said, skip Game of Thrones, watch Fringe instead.
Okay, I only watched 1 episode with you. When we watched...
Should we podcast Fringe, or is that not worth doing at this point? Does anybody care enough for us to talk through Fringe?
Did we find random news?
Severance is going to be done soon.
I know, that's what I'm worried
So
about.
we're going to need another weekly podcast, is what I'm getting at. Besides, she said yes, podcast Lost. How do I make that different? There's got to be some way to
go to Hawaii.
We have to spitball here. What do you mean we have to go to Hawaii? We just went to Hawaii.
It's okay.
You want to podcast Lost from Hawaii?
Yes.
There's 121 episodes.
We gotta move.
We gotta move. I told Michelle, I don't know if anybody else heard this at any point, but I told Michelle if we ever move to Hawaii, because I'm here forever, but if we ever had ridiculous amounts of money to move to Hawaii, the only acceptable location is the house with the backyard that is the beach camp. Because I will set that shit up exactly as it was. Huh?
That dragon looking...
The house?
Yeah, that
I don't care. I'll tear the house down and build this house again there, and then walk out in the back and have the damn Lost beach camp. I would do that.
No.
Oh, she said Cosme. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, but just tell me how to phonetically say your name if I'm butchering it. Cosme says, I love it because it was the first series. It made me navigate the web in search of answers. Lost. You had to look. Jesse said, sounds completely reasonable to me for buying the house, right? Because we went there, and I swear to you, this is not a joke. We're sitting there on the camp beach at sunset for the last hour, and I saw a family walk out of the beach camp area and take their stuff and walk down the beach and then go sit at the beach. They had beach stuff. You live at Lost. Why would you not just walk out the back and sit at the beach there? There was nobody else around it, well, except for us. But they went down to the populated part, and it's you live at Lost.
They were probably just regular tourist people.
They came out of the backyard.
Oh, so that's someone's actual...
That was someone's house, yeah.
That went all the way through?
That goes all the way through, yes.
The one that we walked all the way down.
That long hallway thing,
we
yes.
We finally got there. Where
There's it's one road, and it's one road, and their house is at the road where we parked. And then it's all backyard. We walked all past their backyard to the beach.
So their backyard just goes to the side?
No. Their backyard. Once we got into the beach, we
It was
walked
like a
down
dead
for a
end,
bit.
though.
No, I know, but we walked down to the beach and then we walked a bit on the
Right.
beach. So it's like if we stayed on the road and went down further down the road.
I just thought the road ended.
No, there was a spot for parking, but there was other roads
Oh,
there.
okay, that makes sense then.
So there's a house down there somewhere that their backyard at the tail end of it is lost.
Or maybe maybe
beach
to a
camp.
certain spot it goes. Mm-hmm. Okay, interesting.
I want that house.
Well, keep dreaming.
That's the only way it's going to happen, is by dreaming, But sometimes you got to do that. But in lieu of dreaming, do you have anything else you want to add here? Tell people to watch our regular podcast, like our Don't Have a podcast. Is that worth doing?
Sure.
Or don't?
I want to be depressed.
I wasn't meaning that specific episode. I thought we were going to just continue doing a podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So, but the first episode, yes, we talked about a month ago. Go check it out if you're interested. It was 2.5 hours of super in-depth stuff. But for now, we're going to watch more Severance and then talk more Severance next week. So you can follow me at Mr. Don't Eva everywhere. Are you Mrs. Don't Eva? She's Mrs. Don't Eva.
I'm not sure.
Or Mrs. Dontiva. Mr. Dontiva, whatever, same spelling. Jesse said, podcast all the things I'll watch. As long as we have one viewer, this is still, wait, no, damn it, I can't say it like that. As long as we have one viewer,